Well, I believe I'm at the point where I can put on my first layers of paint on the upper fascia, up here, and on the backdrop. And I have everything sanded. And on some of these joints, it's not a perfectly smooth joint, but it's going to be what it is. And over the different times of year between the hot and the cold, they expand and contract, and you get a little bit of shift there, but I think it'll be all right. So, I got a mess in here, but I'm going to start putting some paint down. Kind of get rolling with this. This paint color I'm going to be putting on my backdrop is not the final color. This is actually an interior paint I was going to use inside my house, but it ended up being too blue, and I wanted something more gray, so I didn't use it. And here you can see the color I'm actually going to paint the backdrop. But I'm going to use this as a primer coat to get the first coat down on the MDF. You can see the MDF is very dark. That way I won't need much of this blue paint in order to get that correct blue tint. So I'll use this as a primer and put the first coat down with this. Well, I have 2 coats of paint on the backdrop, and up underneath the valance, or the cover, I still need to come up here with a brush and get into the corners because I just used a small roller under there, and I need to get this cover for the island. But I have 2 coats of paint on the backdrop. And I used about 3/4 of a gallon of paint. And like I said, I need to get up under there with a brush and get those spots I missed with the small roller. Today's job, well, maybe several days, is to drill holes up here for LED light strips. And I think I've decided I'm going to drill 3 holes on all of these cross braces all along the layout, because I've decided to run 3 LED strips. I figure with 3 LED strips, I will get even lighting. And the strips are dimmable, so if the light is blinding bright, I can dim it down. But that way, if I'm going to have track back here close to the backdrop. And I don't want the light throwing shadows on the backdrop. So I'm going to run a light a couple inches from the edge. Then I'll run one in the middle, and then I'll run one close to the outer edge. That way, it seems to me that I'll get even lighting that way. So that's the plan. Now what I need to do is get everything marked out and then start drilling a lot of holes. Well, drilling these holes is not going to happen quickly, and it's not going to be neat. It's going to make a big old mess. And I might have to go get a different set of spade bits. Those bits are probably 25 years old. And maybe if I had a new bit, it might go a little faster. But it does tear up the wood when it goes through. If I can, I try to drill from both sides, but sometimes I just can't. And so when that spade bit comes through the other side, it really tears up the wood. I do have a little bit of paint to touch up. I don't have a lot, but I do have a little bit. So I'll probably have to do some painting. After making some measurements on these cross members, I eyeballed down the line and they were zigzaggy all over the place. So what I decided to do is take my old laser level and use it for marking the holes, because the holes have to be all lined up, because the LED strips, they're not flexible, so they have to be in a row. Alright, all the holes are drilled, and I touched up the paint on any areas where it's splintered. The spade bit, cuts pretty clean on the front of the hole, but when it comes out the back of the hole, oftentimes it'll splinter. So we got all the holes drilled. And I guess the next thing will be to start running the LEDs. Well, it's exciting that I've finally gotten to this point. I'm ready to start installing the LED lighting underneath the valance. And several years ago, like probably 4, I bought all these LED lights, and there's approximately 75 linear feet of LED light there. But these lights are no longer in production, so I couldn't buy additional lights identical to these. And I determined that what I wanted to do is run, you can't really see there, you can, is run 3 strips of light underneath the valance to make sure I have light on the outsides and light in the middle to try to avoid casting shadows. And these lights are dimmable, so if it's really bright, I can dim them down. I have, I think, 65 feet of wire and 30 connectors where I can trim the LED light strips to length and then connect them together with these connectors and wire so I can get them to go around the corners. So let me show you what they look like. Each package has 2 16-foot sections of light strips. There's a switch, turn them on and off, and adjust the brightness. I have I think these are mounting tabs. I have a power supply. And there's some more mounting tabs. I think I don't know if there's any connectors in there or not. It doesn't look like it. So I have mounting tabs. It looks like Max wants in. Well, I have the valance lit for the island. And I got the 3 rows of lights. Now the connectors, when I clip the LED string and I add this connector wire to continue the string on, and then I did it again here. Those things are really fiddly. And you have to have them in exactly the right spot in order for it to make contact. So, it's just something I have to deal with as I move forward. Well, I've gotten further along with the lighting. I forgot to mention that after I painted the backdrop, I painted the upper fascia. Got the first layer on it, eggshell black, and I may have to give it another coat. Probably will give it another coat. But I got the 3 rows of lights, and I have the lights run to right here. I'll probably do a little more cable management once I get everything in place. And I'm going to take the power supplies and the switches, and I'm going to put them up on top of the valance. So I'll end up drilling some pretty big holes in the valance and put everything up through the top. And then I'll fill the holes afterwards. So I'm getting there. It's like doing yoga. I gotta bend up underneath here, and so it'll take me a couple days to get it finished, but that's all right. All right, well, I have the LED lighting in, and it looks pretty good. I may have a little bit of tidy up to do. Now, all these controls and the power supplies, all that stuff's going to be put up above the valance. So that'll be the next thing I do. But I do have all the lights installed. Almost 150 feet of LED lights. So that was a pretty big step. So let me turn off the lights and see how it looks. All right. I do have some ambient light coming in through the door window, but the LED lighting lights up the room pretty good, actually. And you can see, like this area here, there's no light. And I may be able to, mount a light up here to shine down on that area. And same with the end of the island here. And then the lift out won't have any light, but I might be able to, mount some lights up there and point it down. Or not, I don't know. Well, it's been quite a while since I worked on it. It's been 1.5 years since I worked on the layout, which I call it a layout. I don't have any track, but worked on the bench work. And I do have higher priority projects, but I'm going to try to get some work done on this winter. And maybe, at least get some of the terrain in. And who knows, maybe I can even get some track in. I don't know. Just have to see how it goes. But I have the backdrop painted. I have the upper fascia painted. And I have my LED lighting in under the valance. So that was quite a bit of work done. And next, I need to take and mount the LED controls and the power supplies and move all that stuff up to the top of the valance, and then come up with some sort of circuitry where I can turn everything on with one switch instead of having 5 individual switches. So that will be my next thing to work on. So, thanks for watching. I know updates on this model railroad project are few and far between, but I'm going to try to get some work done on it this winter. So thanks for watching. Hope to have something to add to this soon.